Yep, can hear. Cool. Over to you, Andy.
Cool. All right. Okay. So hi everybody. So we're going to be doing these as well, largely monthly, and as we said we would. So this is our latest update. So I wanted to just really give say a couple of things. Obviously, we're now almost a year and a half in. Is that roughly right, Juice?
Oh so gosh, I think it is a year and a half.
Just over.
Yeah.
Just over. Yeah.
Just over a year and a half. So I just wanted to give it a little, well, a couple of things just in case people don't know they're there. So we've updated the Unreal Bridge. That's been up a couple of weeks, I think, and that's been updated to 5.4.3. And we are working obviously on 5.5, which isn't released yet, but we're already working on it. So for really the first time, we're not running behind. We're actually on schedule for that. So that's good. So that's out. If any of you haven't tried it, you should get that up and have a play with it. It's fantastic. And obviously that's part of something we're going to take further over the next few months. So it's yeah. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for that. We've also are about to do probably another patch update. Hi, Lightwave Guru. How are you, bud?
Renee.
By the way, he's done some fantastic tutorials over the last few months. I think unbelievable, really good. And the last few weeks, amazing. I think stunning. Things I didn't know could be done. So really well done, my friend. Really good. So there's that. There's obviously the patch update. I think is probably coming next month. Juice.
What I am trying to target is I'm trying to target a mid to late November release for another 2024 patch. I will go ahead and make mention here that the current system of reporting bugs is under review. It's under redesign. It's under reworking because now we have everything. We have all the pieces in place. So the best way to get a bug report in currently is to send me a direct email. You can find my email everywhere. You shouldn't have to search hard for it. So if you do indeed, have something that you want to report, make sure to get it in. We're actively triaging currently and going to, like I say, target mid to late November for another 24 patch.
Good. And actually, while I'm out of that, I mean, I've got a note here, and it literally says for me not to say anything. It says, exciting news. We are working across the program getting stacks done, and I can't mention any of it yet. That's literally, anyway, so just obviously we're working on a stack of stuff. But overall, I thought I'd just give a quick summary also of what we've done so far. So I think we've squashed over 300 bugs in the last year and a half. Actually, part of the reason I mentioned that, someone had talked about, Lightwave, the latest version has loads of bugs in it now. And by the way, when we looked, they were still using 2018. So how they know that, I wouldn't know. But fundamentally, we have squashed a stack of bugs. Lots of anomalies that weren't working are now working. And we've also added, I think, over 700 features. So over 300 bugs squashed, 700 features. That's since the 2020 release of many years ago. So we've actually done a substantial amount on the bug fixing, and we're obviously working on a stack more. And there's a load of bug fixes which have been recently generated bugs, but that we're doing in the next bug fix version as well. So just thought I'd mention all that. It is well worth doing the update. There's some great stuff in there, and anyway, for what it's worth. So we've done that. We're also, and we've only just recently done this, we're now keeping track of all those bugs and adding them to the Lightwave docs. So it won't necessarily have everything we've done all the way back, but it does have everything we're doing from now on in the actual docs being updated. So as we do a bug, fix the bug, it goes into the documentation, you can check it. And I think Juice can always post up a couple of pages maybe in the chat so that they can link to those and have a read of those, but there's that's being done as well. So at the end of the conversation, or at the end of the chat, we're going to do an open forum so you can just ask questions, as many as you like. So we'll do that afterwards, but the first thing we're going to do is literally going to do. I think we're going to do the competition winners next. I think. That's for the Halloween competition, and we were just going to quickly cover that and go through that. By the way, some of the entries that have come in have been off the chart good, so I'm really impressed. So, Juice, do you want to? I don't know if you can we show those as well, or
Absolutely. I'm going to do a little share screen here. I just need to move a few
And
dozen,
Andy,
hundred.
did you want to say what they win? What the winners win?
Yes, so they win an update to Lightwave, so they could either get the current version or the next version to use as they wish. I think that's it, isn't it? Isn't that
That's it.
what they're getting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
cool.
can choose
So
2024 or 2025.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, good.
Okay.
Good. Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
Yeah, the whole reason for doing it, right?
Yeah. Oh.
So looking here, sharing screen. So we will go in order here. So what we have is our first mention winner. This is from Emmerich, and honestly, guys, some of these things didn't come necessarily with a title, so I'm calling this the Glass Spider Vault. This is it's actually really pretty. You start to look at all the details, and you see the refractions, you see the lighting, you see the volumetrics, you see the and of course the use of the Lightwave logo. Then we will go to the next winner, which is, I've called this Frosted Fright. This is from apologies for my Texas tongue, Domenico Musili, with his Frosted Fright. And
I love that.
Then
really good.
Our number one is, I call this Pumpkin Scare, from Daniel Cox. And I'm going to leave this here for a little bit. This is going to be a little bit of a feature. There's some bits that are hidden in this image. I'm not going to say anything. We will let that play out as it goes. Then for our Honorable Macabre, we will play an animation here.
Is there any sound on it, Juice?
Yep, there is sound on it. So hang on. I probably have to stop sharing.
Yeah.
And then share again and say include sound, because for some reason, there we go. So share, and let's get full screen. This will be posted.
Yeah, I thought that was very good.
For those of us who've been there, the fear is real.
Yeah.
The fear is real. Guys, thank you so much for everyone who entered. It was difficult to pick the top. There will be a feature, obviously, on our site, as well as posts for the video, the animations and the things. Really, guys, appreciate. Even though I will say, the majority of you waited until the absolute last hour to get your submissions in. We'll try to help out a little bit with a little bit more lead time, if that was indeed our fault. I'll go ahead and take it on the nose this time. But goodness, guys.
I was just going to say, Juice, but Christmas isn't far away.
Right. And
we might be doing a Christmas thing. So maybe do Christmas.
Start thinking. Everyone else, even though it's not actually Halloween yet, I know that there's a lot of places around here that's already playing Christmas music. So I would think that you should be thinking Christmas and thinking that we might be running a competition around Christmas. So get your thoughts going currently, right?
Yeah, but is Christmas at the same time every year or something?
Is it really? I
don't know.
I think the day changes. I think that's the only thing, isn't it? The day of the week that it falls
the
on.
week
Yeah.
may change. Right.
No, very good, very good. And by the way, I think also there were images there from obviously people at very different levels, but it was so good to see that, and I really nice to see, the effort that's gone into it. The winning ones, though, I think the amount of work that's gone into them is fantastic. So really impressed. Very, very good indeed. Yes, that last image, by the way, has got 3. Can I say what they need to look for?
Go ahead.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
So
there's 3 Lightwave logos in there you need to find. All right. And my gut feel is you'll find when we post it later, you'll find 2 of them relatively quickly. The third one, we really took us a while to find the third one. So if you get a chance, have a look. So very, very good. Yes, and fun as well.
Apologies to interrupt, Andy. Juice, I need you for a minute on something that's just come in on first contact.
Okay.
Andy, you right to cover for a minute?
Yeah, I think I can probably find something to fill it with. Yeah.
Guys,
yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves. Here's a topic. Lightwave. And go.
Yeah. Okay. Bye, guys. I'll see you in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're not showing 2025 features, are you, Andy Bishop?
No, nothing. All good. I think maybe now it's probably a good time for the chat. Don't you think?
You know this is being recorded.
Oh. Yeah. Didn't think about. Yeah. Should we do the chat now? That's probably a good thing.
Let's move to the Q&A.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Good. Okay. Questions, guys.
Yeah. Chuck them in the chat, everybody.
Quickly.
Isaac Dan's got a question. I got a gig. There you go. You go, Juice.
That's a USD question. Oh, USD is such a. It's a kettle. It really is. I will tell you this. We have someone on our team who knows about USD. And it's a big deal. And one of the things that we are considering is what and how could we slowly start working in USD. It goes beyond just like FBX. FBX can get you textures, images. It can get you in surfaces. It can get you in the models, things of this nature. And honestly, what we probably will start off with is just the ability to bring in the meshes, maybe the meshes and the textures. But as far as a full USD support, that's going to take a bit of time. I will say that it's definitely on our list. We know it's requested often. I know that it's become a little bit more, but it's a big request. It's a really big request.
Just to chip in on that, we literally were chatting about it, me and Juice, the other day. I mean, we kind of know it's needed, and we know it would be good. I mean, I suppose there's things we've got to start thinking about, whether we do a partial implementation on a version. How best do we get that across? Because to do the all-encompassing everything in one hit is going to still take a long time, but it is very much on the list. I think absolutely right, Juice. Next question.
Well, I saw any news on the native render improvements regarding adaptive sampling, making it 30%, 50% faster compared to now. I will say that it's actually in testing. So we'll see how it all shakes out. And really, that's all I can pretty much say on that. You know, we don't have a we don't have a time frame on that, but we're working on it. We're definitely working on it. And,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
And just
on some of the testing.
Just to reiterate, I'm seeing this a few times. I've already made mention of it. I made mention of it at the beginning. If you people would show up on time, is that we're looking at a patch mid to late November. So there is that. You know, we're looking at another 24 patch mid to late November.
Yeah, I mean, on for what it's worth, on some of the testing we've done so far, it's been fantastic. But we're still debugging and still working on it. But it's such a difficult one because it's one of those things that really does have to be right, because it's the lifeblood of everybody, and if we screw that up, it could damage people's output work and so on. So it's mega important we get that right, and that's why it's taking longer than some of the other features. But it's some real good headway has been made, and it's yeah.
Peg, the frames copy paste has already been fixed internally.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will actually make it into the 24 patch. So there. Okay. Actually, no. Let me take that back. We don't plan on fixing it.
Yeah. Having said we fix everything.
Chronosculpt. Question on Chronosculpt. I will say this:
Oh, yeah.
it is being worked on. It is one of those things that it's a bit of a resurrection project. There were things, when it was put out, when it was done, was many years ago. There have been a lot of things changed in between here and there. So we are definitely, we have plans for Chronosculpt, so it's in our best interest to get it working up and going. It's just, again, it's a resurrection thing, and we're just, we're pushing a heavy stone to get it going.
Yeah, I mean, just to chip in onto that, I think we mentioned right at the back when we started that we didn't get there were so many things we didn't get that we were expecting to get when we bought Lightwave, things that were supposed to be there that weren't there. And one of the problems for us with Chronosculpt was literally none of the documentation on the core coding of how it was done. Stacks of things were just missing. So it's been quite a task, basically gradually chipping away at it, first of all to get it all to work, and then you've got to then work out how does that piece of code work, and then you've got to, it turned out to be a much bigger job than we initially thought it would be, but we are really getting there. So it's just a question of time. But yeah, and absolutely, as Stu says, we have absolute plans for utilizing that for other things as well. And also, it's so good at doing what it does. We want it obviously so that the font scales and so we can improve it. It's just going to take a bit of time, and it is really fast. So yeah, it's coming. Just going to take a bit of time.
Let's see. OpenGL previous is a bit old. Any plans on upgrading it to support MP4? So I guess you're saying directly. There's a lot of stuff with the preview animation system that we're wanting to address in a few varied and sorted ways. Hopefully, in the next few weeks, maybe months, to see additional work on towards that. So we'll just have to see. Some of the things having to do with codecs and the like get involved in licensing, and so there's issues to be sorted out there. I'm going to go ahead and hop forward to. I answered it in the I answered it in the chat itself, but the MDD importer, the multi-MDD importer, please send me content and steps so that we can make sure that, we did, that we get things that we know that people are running into. Just saying there's a bug with this particular system isn't enough. We need to know some specifics. 30 minutes. That way we can help and get it sorted.
From your calendar.
And obviously, guys.
And also, too, I'm seeing questions that are dealing with the UI, like an additional fifth floating window in Modeler, or many of these type of things. A lot of this is toolkit stuff, and again, Andy, myself, the dev team, we're all trying to find our way on that as well. There's options ahead of us that have pros and cons. We're all trying to sort through that and trying to get it, but at the same time, we don't want Lightwave to go dark. We don't want it to be another 4-year no updates and oh my gosh, Lightwave is dead again. So there's a lot of things that, it's going to be a balancing act of personnel to time, effort to payoff, and how do we keep Lightwave running at the same time that we're doing some of these things.
Yeah, I mean, if you think, I think when we bought it, we did actually, one of the first things was to plug the holes, sort out the problems that were there, get a lot of things fixed, and try to fill the gaps of things that were missing. And I think I would say that now we're a year and a half in, we're getting to that point where we're now really comfortable with where we're at and what we've done. And it is the next phase, really. We start that, probably next year, and of taking things forward. And some of those things are really big things we've got to do. And there's also an element. There are some things you can't change until you've done that, right? So we've got a few things we still have to do here that then will enable us to move on and make some more interesting changes, let's say. But we're very much discussing those things all the time. So yeah, but it's good. So there are some. I'm bursting to say things, but I can't. But we are working on so many cool things at the moment. So it's it's good.
So I see too that implementing importing of SVG or more modern EPS files. Again, this is one of those things that some of it has to do with file format licensing. There's a number of things that we've looked into as far as how to support some of this stuff, and some of it runs into a paywall. So know that, realize and keep in mind, guys, we're Lightwave users. So we run into the same kind of things that you run into. I've lost track of how many things I've loaded in Illustrator and saved out as a version 8 file just so that I can import it. The struggle is well known. And it's one of those things too that some of the things here, like I'm looking. Let's see. Business question: How goes the building of Lightwave Digital as a company? I think we're doing great. Again, there's things that we can't share. That will, when we can crow about it, you better know that you'll hear about it. Do you think we'll ever share a dev path? This is problematic, because if we share a dev path, if we share a roadmap, then we're playing our hand, and we won't be able to sell current version because everyone will be waiting for the next version, or so it's there's a lot of things that we can't until we get to a particular point in time that it's worth it, monetarily or a good business decision to share. I see Modeler news. Yes, there's actually modeler news. We've got some things that are being worked on. Again, I can't talk about it because, it's, but yes, we're working on modeler. We're working on a number of things. Go, Andy, jump in.
No, just a quick chip in. I mean, I think if you remember towards the end of the last session, we started working on Lewis's tools, that we call them Lewis's tools. The
edge and slide.
The point slide and edge slide, which really was us starting to make our first impact into trying to get improvements into Modeler. So that is absolutely now underway. So so although we can't talk about that now, we will start talking about those things soon. It's terribly vague, isn't it?
I know. It's this is the potential issues. We ask for people to ask questions, and of course the answer has to be, we can't say. We're working on it, but we can't say when. I will say that we're currently working internally on getting V-Bulletin put in instead of the form that we have. Again, it's being the website has been going through some back end rework, upgrade, restructure, revamp, and when that gets to a point that we're certainly looking at putting in V-Bulletin. I don't have a time frame though.
Actually, just to talk about that, the expansion of how we're going to be handling our social media, for instance, we started that towards mid-September. We have 2 dedicated people now to working on social media, and they're giving us weekly updates at the moment and talking about design and color ranges, and I mean they're so good and so switched on. They're going to be you're going to start to see a much bigger social media presence over the next 6 months and things. So there's so many things we're working on so many fronts, but obviously it takes time for us to build up the team to be able to do that, and that team is increasing all the time. And it's like the tutorial videos. We would have liked to have put out 100 tutorials on week 1 when we started. We couldn't, but actually now we've got quite a substantial amount of tutorials, and that just took time to make sure we get the right people doing those tutorials. So that's all of those sort of things that are happening, and the website's the same. If you remember initially, we made the transition across. Obviously there are things that need to be improved, and but they take time. You've got to think about the resources we have on the web team. They're limited. They take time. We've got the social media people now. That's just starting. And then there's the coding team, which is as big as it's, bigger than it's ever been. That is, again, if someone joins us, it takes 6 months before you see the fruits of anything that they do. So it's, all I can say is, those improvements are going to start to be visible very soon. And
I've put the link for our Instagram page in the chat for everybody, because that's where we've seen the latest updates in terms of our new media team doing stuff. So you can see the bit of a difference there. If everyone wants to go and have a look, you'll start seeing more come out there. And we'll be having, shouldn't say this, but we'll be having a TikTok page as well for reels and stuff coming out that we want to be doing, and a whole lot to try and get more people seeing what we're up to.
So Giles is allowed to mention things, but I can't. What?
It's because I have no face. See.
Yeah. So So I mean, it is worth looking at those things, and obviously they're being aimed at a much wider market than our existing Lightwave market, right? So very much with minds to things that we're planning for obviously next year. It's like the education version of Lightwave. We've been planning that, working on it. That's lining up for, again, next year release. So on all fronts, we are working obviously for the existing users, but also how we're going to attract new users and how we're going to make things that will make their life easy in a modern world in production. So there's a lot of things we're working on which are going to be game changing for a lot of people. So so Next question.
How is Remeasure and Advanced Placement doing? Well, it's doing well. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's obviously we're still early days with that. So our first thing was to stabilize it and make it, do what it's doing. We're actually working on some other things that aren't to do with flow directly, but will have a knock-on effect to have flow afterwards. All right. So we've got to get those things done. I wish I could tell you what they are, but they're amazing, but they will have a backward effect on what we're doing with flow. So very much all of that is going to be further developed. And Lightwave Guru. I mean, most of you hopefully have seen some of the things he's putting out on that. Fantastic stuff that we hadn't even thought of. He's doing so.
The shaving cream looking stuff.
Oh god damn!
So cool.
Why didn't we think of that as a? I mean, just brilliant. I thought I love that. So
I know that it didn't come to me because I rarely shave.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you guys get a chance, have a look at some of that stuff being done. I know he's brilliantly diligent and posts on what's it called? The old system that we used to use, Discord, and which is fantastic. So actually, someone again asked about that being handed over. We're doing that. I think we're aiming and doing that process now of handing that over, so that it's no longer something that is under our responsibility. But we are, we'll always support it, and obviously occasionally come in and chat. But we've obviously got so many things and so many fronts we're trying to work on. It's not as possible for us to just chat for hours and hours and end on some of those sites as much as we used to. But obviously, as the team gets bigger, that hopefully will relieve a bit of the pressure, and we will be able to chat more. But anyway, so next question.
Well, I mean, without just saying, we're looking at it, we're looking to it, we're future plans to implement a native GPU renderer for Lightwave. I want to look at native GPU renderer. I want to look at CPU renderer. I want to look at a native NPR renderer. I want to look at a real-time renderer. I want to be able to do any and all of these. It's just one of those things where time, effort, money, people, underlying code that might need to be shored up in order to make it work. I mean, it'd be one of those things of, yes, we have this wonderful thing, but because our underlying code doesn't allow us to sling 14 trillion polygons in real time, it's useless, So I mean, there's so many bits and pieces. There's so many moving parts. There's so many things that need to be, addressed. It becomes the challenge almost on a day-to-day basis of which do we attack first? Which do we,
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, those challenges are challenges we are literally facing every day. So, the underlying code and how you make something do something you want it to do, often involves going back, adjusting the old code, updating the old code, then adding the new feature, and then debugging. It's a lot of work. So, I mean, to answer, I'm not going to answer the question, but does Cage Man? See you in a month's time. Maybe a month and a half. Right. So, we'll answer. I mean, that's probably worth mentioning. I think we will have probably more to show in a month and a bit. So I would recommend, obviously, the next time we do one of these, get the word out. Going to be well worth everybody being on it, and because we'll undoubtedly have a few more things to show and talk about then. So so any more questions? We good? Have I stunned everybody to silence?
No, it's one of those things. I mean, do we plan on updating OpenGL speed? Do we plan, again, guys, you've got to know that everything that you were thinking, we're thinking too. Because it's not something that I know Andy and I specifically and definitely, we are not the guys who only look at Lightwave when we build it. No, we're using it on a daily basis.
In production.
In production. So it's one of those things that, with the outside thing of, realizing that we were working on things back when we were still, New Tech VizRT, of OpenColor.io, OpenImage.io, all of these things we were working on, and we're again, it's a little bit of an archaeology thing to rebuild and reform some of these things that that got a little bit lost in time. So we're rediscovering, we're recreating, and trying to modernize as much as we can as we move forward. I think we have in the past. Okay, there, Giles has said, as far as 20-time release, no date is set, but when we have decided, yes, you'll know, and. Oh yeah, we can't have a meeting like this without someone bringing up a Linux version. It's again, we know that it's wanted. We know that, but there's underlying things to deal with it.
Should you? I mean, I suppose. I mean, you all know that there were things that we were dealing with Python 2, 3, and what's the right way to implement X, Y, at what time, what enables you to make the maximum amount of compatibility. So when we design anything, when we do anything, we have to think about, obviously, making everything as functionally good as possible. And obviously, when you do a first release, there's going to be a stack of things that you missed that you think you've bug fixed, but then users find those bugs, and hence the reason we do patches, right? But very quickly, I think, after the last release, we had a patch out that remedied most of the problems, or a lot of the problems that were there. But when you're looking at things like big wholesale changes, the problem is the quantity of things you break when you implement those things. So there was things that we would have loved to have done by last Christmas that we are now getting around to being able to sort of sort out, and they're happening. Things like Linux is that you've got to think about the ratio of how many users will actually have that, as opposed to, or need that, compared to the mass market. And what we've got to think about is mass market is obviously the number one thing, is attracting new users, and creating tool sets that will change the life of those new users and make it substantially easier for them to do things. That has to be a number one priority. Well, I suppose the best thing we can say is we are working across the board on some major features that are coming. And yes, we don't know when the 25 release is coming out, but they are going to be fantastic things. I mean, very much like, every update we've done so far has been big. That isn't going to stop. So just know that I suppose the first time we did it, great. Second time we did an update, people are kind of, can they do it again? And I think at each point we've done an update, hopefully it's shown you that we will keep on delivering major updates, and the next one will be no different. So yeah, we good?
I think
we're good,
so.
Andy. Yeah.
I think
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we've run the gamut.
Yeah. So let me just say one last thing. And obviously this is our monthly meetings, great. And a bunch of you here, really good. Definitely get the word out. I think next month we'll have a few more things to talk about. I would recommend everybody comes to that one. So I don't know when, we haven't got a date for that yet, but would recommend it. It's going to be fun. So all right.
Cool. Thanks, Andy.
That's good. Yep. I hope you all enjoyed this week's or this month's, and thank you all for joining. Have a really great Halloween. And remember, when you're trick and treating, don't punish people too badly, and enjoy yourselves, and have a really nice weekend, guys. And yeah, good.
Guys, as always, thanks, guys.
Right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Speak soon.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Bye.